We're going to start out by taking a look at Unity. There's some very important principles that I want to share with you when it comes to development. Now, I said it in my last video, but anybody can learn how to make games. And the reason why I know this is because if you can speak a language, if you have a native language, you can learn how to program. Because all of the skills required to understand a native language are the same skills required to understand a programming language. It's really just a matter of understanding the words, or what they call the lexicon of the language, and then its syntax. Now, as you can hear, I'm speaking English, and English is somewhat of a difficult language just because it relies a lot on context, and there's a lot of things that don't make sense unless you understand the current context. Programming is very similar. First of all, I'd kind of like to show you what we're going to be doing. This is what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be showing you some programming concepts and principles like ambiguity and the black box, entity and component-based programming. But take a look at what we've got here, and these are some of the things we're going to go over. These are the games that I'm going to make. I'm going to be making, they're not going to be exactly like the games listed here. Like, for example, Tetris, that's a copyrighted name. So technically we can't make a game and sell it called Tetris. But same thing with Gauntlet. But, you know, we're going to make some very simple games like rock, paper, scissors to start out. And then we're going to go to tic-tac-toe. Then I think we're probably going to do checkers, and then maybe some chess, Sudoku, Tetris, Missile Command. We'll probably do Missile Command before Tetris. Asteroids. We're probably going to do Asteroids before Missile Command, before Tetris. And then, I don't know if you guys have ever played the Atari Game Adventure. Such a fun game. And then, this is going to be one of the most funnest things of all. I'm going to make a Unity project where you guys will be able to write code for what's called an elevator game. So we're going to create the game together, and then you're going to be able to download the project and practice your development skills on how to efficiently get people in an elevator to their destination. And then, of course, a 2D platformer like Super Mario Brothers, Pac-Man. So I'm going to try and pick like easiest to hardest of games, and I might add more games to this as well. So here's the C# programming language. These are all the things that we're going to be talking about, and what I'll do is with a particular game, I'll link these things together so that you can see, oops, didn't want that. I'll link these things together so you can see, you know, what things, like, for example, rock, paper, scissors, we're going to talk about identifiers and keywords. Just looking at what else we're going to, obviously, we're going to talk about classes. And we'll probably talk about access modifiers, too. We're going to talk about a lot of the basics. We won't talk about that. But I see I'm missing something here. Methods, obviously. We're going to be using methods. So yeah. But first, let's talk about one of our principles. Errors and mistakes. Everything I'm going to be teaching you guys is I'm going to be showing you how to read errors, how to understand them so that you can correct your problem. Because You cannot program without making errors and mistakes. It's impossible. It's literally like you're walking into a dark room that you've never been in before, and you're feeling your way around, trying to figure out how to make this thing happen. And there's no one way to do it. And yeah, there's good practices and there's bad practices, but I don't want to focus on that because that's not important to you learning. You'll learn the good practices and the bad practices because you'll get bit in the butt by something that will really make it harder for you to do what you're doing, and you're going to learn. Don't trust me there. You'll be learning that. So I don't really need to teach you good and bad practices per se. If you like to use go-tos, good for you. They're going to bite you in the butt eventually. So anyway, let's go into a 2D game here, and we're going to call it Test 1. Now here's the first thing I want to show you with Unity. There's like all these windows, right? Like the first thing I think you need to do is just close all these windows. Like, I want you to understand what these windows mean. So we're going to get rid of them all. That's really bright. Now we have no windows. None. This is it. This is what you get when you don't have any windows. We have account, cloud, layers, layout, which we're going to talk about layout, global, local, pivot, center. We'll just keep these on global and pivot. And then we have these things. And these are so that you can move things around, but these only work in certain windows. So let's go to our windows here. And you'll see we've got Unity Services, Scene, Game, Inspector, Hierarchy, Project, Animation, Profile. Yeah, you can read all these. Let's pull one of these windows up. One of the important windows is the Scene window. And the Scene window, let's put it on here. There we go. And it takes up the whole thing. So this is our Scene window. Can't really do much in it, but we can use, there's the camera. We can grab the camera, and we can move the camera around. Now, to see a list of everything that's in the scene, let's open up our, oh my gosh, it's so funny, I can't remember. It's hierarchy. Let's put this over here. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Let's put this, let's try and attach it to something. There we go. There. Now we have stuff in our, we can see the camera. This is the main camera. And we can use these things to move it around and rotate it. Scale it. But it doesn't really get affected that way. Ooh, we can change the size of the window. All right, so let's go back to camera and let's undo all that. There. Now here we can create other objects. So we can create an empty game object. As you can see, it doesn't show up in here, because there isn't anything attached to it. And we can see what's attached to it or what it looks like by looking at the inspector window. And the inspector window, let's put that here. So if we click on the game object, we see that this game object has a transform, and it has, we can tag it if we want. A particular layer that it will show up on, or what layer it's on. We can mark it as static. Again, we don't have to know what all these things mean. One of the things I'm going to be teaching you is that you don't have to know everything to do what you need to do. It's okay to not completely know something. So this is important, and this is what I call the ambiguity in the black box. It's okay not to understand everything. In fact, you are going to be a far more efficient programmer if you can understand like a black box. And like a black box is like something where it has inputs. You put something into it and something comes out of it. So let's say you put a number in, like a 2, and then a 4 comes out. And that's all you need to know. You put a number in and another number comes out. What happens inside? That's not as important as understand inputs and outputs. So for static, we're going to get to this, but like just know that it exists, that it's there. So transform. Okay, now here's something that we can do. There's this button. It's called icon. We can set an icon. So let's set an orange icon, and now it shows up in our scene window. So let's go to the transform tool up here, and now we can move it around. So now we know where it is in the scene view. Now there's another view that we're going to look at, and that is the game view. Let's put the game view right here for now. And as you can see, oops. Let me put this back here. As you can see, we can't really see anything in here. So let's drop another object, and let's do a 3D object this time. Even though we're in a 2D project, we can still do this because. So here it is. There's the cube. Now if we go to our scene, we can see the cube. So let's add the cube to the game object. And now when we select the game object, you can see that the cube moves along with it. So they're tied together now. It's just something important to know that happens. Okay, so again, the purpose of what I'm doing here is just to literally destroy Unity. Get rid of all of the tabs so that we can start to create a model of what's possible in Unity. Here's all the windows that it has. We're not going to understand immediately what they'll do. We're going to be getting to that when we make the games. But just getting comfortable, kind of breaking things and then bringing them back. So one way that we can bring everything back is we can go with a layout. We can do a 2x3 layout, and you see it creates all of these windows for us. We've got the hierarchy window, the project window, the inspector, scene, and game. Okay, let's go to 4-split. So it creates 4 different scene windows for us. That's cool. Okay, we have inspector, hierarchy, project. All right. Cancel. And then default. This is what you more than likely see when you open it up the first time. And then tall. This creates more space for the scene window. But of course, you can move these to wherever you want. Excuse me. You can put them anywhere you want. It doesn't matter. And in fact, you could put everything on one tab. And then, oops. On one window, and then just tab between them all. If you wanted to. Wide. So this gives you a wide scene view. You just have to find the layout that you like the most. But again, my whole purpose here is just to show you, you can mess it up and you can make it any way you want. And then you can also do a save layout, delete layout, and revert to factory settings. Now, my nickname is Tone, so I created a tone layout. This is the layout that I like the most. I have my scene window over here. I have my hierarchy down here, and then this is my project window. Now the project window is like, say for example, this is where you'd put your images and stuff. So I'm just going to find an image and throw it in here. There. This is from Minecraft. So this is a sprite, and you can see in the inspector here, it creates a basically a texture type of sprite, 2D and UI. Excuse me. We're going to be getting more into these and what all these things are later. But for now, just want to show you that you could pull that in there. And then if I want to make a prefab, where that is where you make an object, like I've got my game object here in the cube, and I want to save this as something that I can create later, I can take the game object and throw it in here, and it creates a nice prefab for me. So now I can throw in, now that I've made a prefab, I can make as many of these guys as I want. So yeah. So anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about with you this time. So we talked about ambiguity in the black box, and we'll definitely be coming back to that. And we also talked about errors and mistakes, and we're going to be talking about that some more too. And we talked about games we're going to make, but we'll be checking these off when we actually make them. So I think we should start with, I don't know. Let me know, which game would you like me to start with as a fun example? Leave that in the comments. If you like this so far and you're excited about the stuff that I'm going to be talking about, please subscribe, like the video, and again, let me know your thoughts.